Hello and welcome back to Moonbase MGTOW, your refuge from the big blue pill planet with red pills that are out of this world. Thank you very much for visiting my channel today, and today's topic will be fasting and abstinence raises your baseline and purifies your subconscious. Now, I've made significant gains throughout my NoFap and Keto OMAD Candina fasting journey, but it hasn't come without significant challenges. For example, old memories of former habits and feelings have started resurfacing, almost as if old neurons are checking in to see if I still need those unused dopamine receptors. For example, one day I suddenly and vividly remembered these frozen pizzas I bought only a few times from when I used to work at a supermarket back then, and this was also a time that was the height of my binge eating career. I don't miss the chocolates and chips anymore, but I really reminisced on the Pizza Hut breadsticks that were next door and steak sandwiches from the delis in the area. But you see, and these memories especially come up during my fast days when I don't eat anything at all, which is very strange. But these ghost memories aren't only occurring with food, it's also happening with my love life as well. And you know the type of feelings I'm talking about. It's the feelings you get about the girl you fell in love with, but you thought you were over her because she's bad for you, and you fell in love with someone else after her. But now it's clear as day that you were never over her. Yikes. But this is what I mean by purifying the subconscious, because the prolonged abstaining from sensory pleasures will grant me a face-to-face with my deeply retained or repressed desires. It is then up to me to observe and allow them to pass as I ask myself, by the time I complete my training, reaching a year on my streaks from now, will I still desire these things? Would the feelings fall away? Would I have raised my baseline? So I've reflected in my last health update that I had always crumbled right before the day 30 mark during my past bouts on the keto diet. And I was only able to succeed so well this time because I had redirected my off-menu urges with the much safer dark chocolate and almond butter option instead of, the usual junk food. By the way, health tip, almonds are very high in oxalates, so eating them over repeated days was probably the source of my digestion issues, and also Sandman has chimed in on that. He had kidney stones recently because of high oxalates, so keep that in mind. But on average, I don't stray too far away from my calorie limit, and I go through the same rotation of assorted veggies, fish, meat, or egg protein, and healthy fats and seeds, oils, coconut, and butter. And as I begin to deprogram from sugar, I am also starting to drift away from standard sex. And this is because I've come across a new sexual lifestyle called Carezza, or Carezza, something like that. Many of its practitioners may also be invested in more spiritual endeavors, aka something you would call New Age or woo-woo. But allow me to not be so esoteric and simply break down the typical ways we have sex today. Average sex is still procreation-focused sex. It is only because of the delusion brought on with the use of contraception that we falsely believe we have engineered recreational sex. But this isn't true. Truly, it's still quite juvenile for a man to release what he could very well use to start a family into an unceremonious latex bag. Likewise, it is even worse for women as they actively manipulate their hormones with birth control pills. Now, I've personally not yet practiced Carezza, but it appeals to me because I'm very interested in semen retention, but I also know that common sex and orgasm is more of a release of tension rather than long-lasting and sustainable satisfaction. At its worst, I've heard contemporary sex dubbed as female-assisted ejaculation, and I wholeheartedly agree with that description. In short, Carezza is a non-orgasm-focused sexual practice in which oxytocin and other pleasure chemicals are maintained and multiplied through sustained sensuality without any of the crashing resulting from orgasm. It has especially been used to revitalize dead bedrooms in marriages, with repeated orgasms being the culprit of declining interest in long-term relationships, as told in Marnia Robinson's book, Cupid's Poison Arrow. But once again, I haven't read that book yet either, so this is all theory for now. So, more on that in the future, but to return to our point, I realized this new paradigm has raised my baseline when I compared these two sex practices while reflecting on my feelings for my old flame. For example, despite her red flags, I would still be interested in standard procreation sex, as a means of closure or just a really good hate fuck, But because of her red flags, I would not be interested in Carezza recreational sex because it's far too intimate, and she has these negative energies that I don't really want to be combined with. So you see the difference? With both food and sex, I've refrained and practiced self-control, and it has now come to a point where I require a higher quality source to indulge in those behaviors. For example, even if I wanted sugar again, I would much rather find a gourmet or home-baked option rather than the average store-bought junk. And now, my future sexual partners require the right energy and will not be used as my one-way need to get off. I'm truly curious to see how much more my body will reveal its inner cravings and what my baseline appetite will be after a year of this training program. Okay, that's all the content I have for today. Thank you again for visiting my channel. Please stick around for the credits, let the music play out, and I will see you on the far side.
Got me?